I was working my ass off and commuting into the city and not seeing my kids enough. I have learned now that there are so many different ways of looking at success. And for right now, I am so happy quietly working in the suburbs, seeing my 2 boys more, spending more time with them. Like that is also what success looks like. And I had to learn that, I think, the hard way.
As a perfectionist, how do you reconcile that within you?
Walking down the street, thinking about her exit, breaking down the steps so every founder gets it. She's the exit whisperer, she's opening the door. It started with a whisper, now that whisper's gonna roar. She just sold her company, and here you get the real story. Shh, you could be next. Walking down the street, thinking about her exit.
Hi, and welcome back to another episode of The Exit Whisperer. I'm Carrie Kirpin, your resident exit whisperer, here to tell you all the tales of exits, big, small, and everything in between. On this episode, I get to have a moment, okay? I'm just going to tell you. Like, it was a moment for me. It was a full circle, full arc experience, because this woman I have watched crash and rebuild and have glory and then have stress and then come back and then come through a sale and come through it all with such insight and grace. And it was, for me, this exit and the planning of it and the timeline of it, it started well before I even launched the Whisper Group. I was connected to this incredible founder. I saw a little bit of myself in her, and I knew that she would accomplish incredible, incredible things. And that is exactly what she has done. She will talk to you about her experience, about how her body told her what to do before she knew what to do, and some of the things that she worked on to really make sure that she was able to get through in good health and with grace. And she is just always, always ahead of her time. I want to introduce you to Lana Powers, who is now the Chief Revenue Officer of Studio Beauty after the acquisition of Powers PR just last year. I've had the pleasure of working with Lana and getting to know her, and I just feel like my audience is so lucky today to get to know her too. Lana.
Carrie.
Welcome.
Hi.
We were talking before the show.
I know. Oh my gosh.
And what did we say when we first met? You were a half-dead dog.
Half-dead dog.
Half-dead dog.
It's so, I feel like I'm going to get like PETA on my ass right now. It's so, that's probably the worst analogy ever because I love dogs. I love dogs so much.
Nothing against the dogs.
But I truly, mind, body, and spirit was so insanely broken. I felt truly like I was dying. And I have this incredible, incredible friend who you are our mutual. And I got her on the phone, told her my whole saga, cried my eyes out to her. And she said, you need somebody named Carrie in your life. And I was like, who is this Carrie? How do I get in touch with her ASAP? And that was you.
I do remember it well. And let's step back to the arc of what you had started and what got you to that place. Okay, So let's start with Powers PR. So when did you start Powers?
So I started Powers in April 2016, about almost 10 years ago. I was in the PR industry for nearly a decade prior to that, doing a little bit of everything: lifestyle work, beauty, fashion, entertainment, and really wanted to be my own boss. But more importantly, I wanted to work with brands that I personally felt passionate about. That was when I was the most creative. That was when I was the most tenacious in growing a company. That's when I really wanted to be with my client on like ground zero, building it to an incredibly successful brand. I had to be personally passionate about it to really have that fire in me. And that was health and wellness. I decided to start one of the first boutique PR agencies that solely specialized in health, wellness, and fitness.
And this was early, okay?
This
like
was
for those of
early.
you that
Yes.
don't realize, like now, like everything is wellness. Like at that time, this was like completely revolutionary. So you must have like, when you started, did you take off right away? Did it take some time? How did you grow?
I started really slow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't know how to grow a company.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly wanted to just start working again with brands that I really enjoyed. So I didn't think about, in 2 years, I'm going to scale to be a 20-person team. In 5 years, I'm going to have an office.
Yeah.
In 8 years, I'm going to potentially think about selling my agency. That was never in my crystal ball.
You just wanted to do good work for clients you loved.
Exactly.
Totally get it. Totally get it. I had a very similar experience.
Yes. So I really just started out, me, myself, and I, for the first few years and really as a consultant, working with brands that I loved and trusted and truly felt a part of. I started getting more business and more business. I'd say around like year 4. I would also caveat that with I got pregnant with twins.
Oh my God.
And
while the business was growing.
And it was just, I always feel in my life I am an all or nothing person. So of course this happened
It has
to
to
me.
happen all at once.
Everything happens at once. And I do feel like to this day right now, looking back on how the past few years have gone, everything happens at once. So whether it's good or bad, and I take it and I run with it.
It's actually good to know. If you know that about yourself in your life, if it's all at once, you know that it will pass and that something will happen again.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's
exactly.
So interesting. Okay. So you're pregnant with twins. At that point, do you have staff?
I have 2 girls who were working with me. One of them was full-time. One of them was part-time.
Okay.
So 1.5 people.
Okay.
And I was pregnant with twins. And of course, that's when I was like, why am I turning down business?
Right.
I need to start building a bigger team. I want to start growing more. And it was like my hormones were talking to me.
I was going to ask, like, how did the pregnancy influence that, do you think? Do you think it was like, I need to build something bigger for my boys that are to come into the world? How did the two play together?
So I think it's twofold. I definitely have looked up to a lot of female entrepreneurs in my career who are moms. And I have always been like, wow, what a badass. She is doing it all. She is setting an incredible example for her kids. She, is being able to build the life she wants to with her family and her husband, and knows that she was a big contributor financially to that.
So that was important to you too.
It
was all of it. So now so you're pregnant with the twins. You've got 2 girls working for you. You're like, okay, I'm going to go big on this.
Yes. And because I was turning away business, and a part of it was because I was like, shoot, I only have 1.5 people working for me and I'm pregnant. Definitely not going on a maternity leave because founders even do that? Right. And I knew I needed to grow in order to stop turning away business. Turning away business felt so silly to me.
Yeah. Because it probably felt like you couldn't do something that you wanted to do. And to me, in knowing you, when somebody tells you no, you're going to find that way to get to yes and push through. And nobody was telling you no, and you certainly weren't going to say no to business that could help accelerate your growth.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. So
exactly.
I see you have these beautiful twin boys. Amazing. You're building this business. You now start hiring, and then eventually you have a team.
Yes.
You're now a bigger agency.
We are a bigger agency. I have a full team, but I'm still wearing a lot of hats.
Of course.
But I was flourishing for several years. I was so incredibly happy. I invested in an office space. I was with all female led, senior leadership team, account teams, and I was working with brands that were very well established. I was working with brands that we helped grow from, the ground up, which was also very rewarding. And we also worked with pre-launch brands. So it was such a nice mix of health and wellness brands. And this was like in the height of COVID as we were growing.
Yep.
Because as you mentioned, people weren't solely focused on working
That's
or
right.
even building
That's right.
wellness brands.
Now wellness becomes like a whole thing.
Wellness is in every
It's mainstream.
part
Yep.
of a person's lifestyle
Yes.
nowadays. It's like you cannot get away from it.
Yes.
But when I started building this, it was such a white space.
So it established you as such an early expert. And I hear this story and I hear the joy of the team, the office, the clients you want. At what point, what happens that changes that experience for you? How do you get to half dead dog?
Right. We were
there.
we were there.
Started.
And then I started talking about how excited I was.
But no, we need that. We need that for the arc. Because to really picture you in that moment, by the time you get to me, there had to be a major shift.
Yes.
So what was it that took place?
About 3 years ago, let me step back. I'm like, let me brace. PR is such an incredibly challenging roller coaster, especially owning your own PR firm. There are ups. There are the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And I felt like every day I woke up really not knowing what to expect, which for me, type A personality, so incredibly zealous about every single one of my clients, about my team, about the work that we do. It was hard for me to have such crazy and different emotions every single day and not being able to control it.
Yep. I'll tell you something. You remind me very much. I remember there was a moment when I was building Likeable and an advisor walked into the room and he was like, I want to tell you something. There's one thing that you can count on in this business. And I was like, what's that? I expected like I was going to hear some great growth secret. He was like, every client you have will eventually fire you. And I was like, every client I have will eventually fire me. And he's like, yeah, they will. You have to get used to the unexpected, the churn. And when you're building on an up and you hit growing pains, like it's very, very, very shocking. So when you have that experience,
Yes, I know.
And so was it part of like, it must have been just a real struggle of the constant change in that way.
It was such a struggle day in and day out of not knowing what to expect. Right. Clients being so happy with you one day and then 2 weeks later, they maybe fire you. Maybe it's because of our work. Maybe it's because of budget cuts.
Yeah, it could be. And you would never know. You win a client, you lose a client. A client says they're going to come on board. They don't actually sign. Like anyone who has run any form of service business understands this. But tell me like, did it feel like maybe because you were bigger, were there more financial pressures? Like what led to the actual like
death?
The implication on your body when you called me, because I remember you. I really do. And I remember you being so sad and feeling so broken. Did it happen to your body? Did it happen mentally? Like how did you get
manifest?
there?
Yeah. So I was on at the peak of the roller coaster, the top of the roller coaster. I was flying high. I had an incredible team and I had incredible clients. And recently had won some very notable brands with big budgets. I feel like within 3 to 4 months of that, it came crashing down because I had some senior team members who have been with me for 6-7 years leave. I had clients leave and I didn't know what to do. I had never experienced such a plummet of despair, truly. And I didn't know what to do. That's when I called my friend, Steph Carden, who is shout out to Entreprenistas.
Entreprenista forever.
Yes.
Second Entreprenista shout out of the podcast day, by the way.
I mean, she's truly amazing.
She is.
And I told her this story and I said, I don't know if I can handle rebuilding my company because I'm at rock bottom. I feel defeated and depleted. And I felt that mind, body, and spirit. That's when she said, you need Carrie Kerpen in your life. I remember getting on the phone with you. I think it was literally 48 hours later. You hopped on a phone with me. And that's where I told you, I haven't been feeling well in my body. I had excessive inflammation.
Yeah.
I was sluggish. And for me to feel this way, working within the wellness industry, that was really challenging
yes,
for me.
it must have felt so incongruous to what you were doing.
It was. And
man.
it's funny because when I started in the wellness industry, I had a founder come to me and say, the people that work in wellness are actually the most unwell. And I never understood that until this moment. And I realized in hindsight, I was taking care of everybody else around me, my kids, my husband, my team, my clients, my office, which was also, a baby of mine, except for me. Yep. I was not taking care of myself. And that's when we got on the phone and you persuaded me to try to rebuild
I don't know how. Okay, so this is what I remember, and I really need your perspective because this is an interesting interview because I was involved in your journey, right?
Yes.
From this point. So at that point, I think you wanted to close or try and sell it, but it would have been almost unsellable.
Correct.
And somehow I got you calm enough to regenerate. And I think I said, like, give us a year. Like, let's see, let's rebuild. Let's see what we can do. Let's see where we can go and then evaluate.
Yep. I mean, that's your biggest gift is keeping people calm and showing them what they could really do when they are in a state of calmness and clarity.
Yes.
I had none of that before I met you.
I love to hear that. I love that.
So you did that.
I appreciate that.
For about a year.
But no, I want to know so long story short, you took the next year and really rebuilt up the client base, shored up the staff, strengthened everything.
Yep.
And then eventually you made a different choice. What do you think you did that allowed you to re-energize and get back in the game?
Again, I feel like everything happens all at once, but I do believe that everything happens for a reason. So as I was down in the dumps and didn't have the confidence in rebuilding at that moment, I won a very big client a few days after that. And that really, it messed with me in a way where I was like, oh gosh, I wanted this client so badly and I'm thinking about shutting my business down. And I knew that I would look back on that and it would have been a big mistake.
And if you were going to give it a go, you were going to give it a go in a way that would be full power and also just ready that if you did feel that way again, it would be able to be an asset that could be sold. I mean, I was adamant about that for you. It was like, I am not letting you have this moment again in this way.
Yes, exactly. So fast forward, I was elated to win this client. And it really gave me the confidence, the clarity, and truly the calmness for my team and this new client and my, existing client roster to be able to create the structures and formalities that my agency needed over a year. It was not overnight.
It wasn't.
It took, I'd say 6 months. I feel like 6 to 8 months of complete determination and grit to build again.
And I think you, during that time, one thing that I noticed about you that I was so impressed with was you were very level in that moment. Like as you were building it, it was no win was the defining win forever. No loss was the defining loss forever. No staff member was the person that was the be all end all. You were able to really sort of detach yourself.
I needed to.
And you needed to. And you did that really well for 11 months. And then what happens?
I feel like I worked so hard for those 11 months to build something that not only was I so incredibly proud of, but something that was sellable. And I think the moment that my body recognized that I was at that top of the roller coaster again, my body just lost it.
Yep.
And
you had all kinds of symptoms. Like and this was different. This wasn't, something wasn't horrible with the agent. The last time you had like the agency felt uncertain, this was just like random symptoms that started telling you that something wasn't right.
Yes. It was around holiday time.
Yep.
So I feel like it was almost 2 years from today. And I started having a ton of inflammation in my body. I felt incredibly tired all the time. Everything I put in my mouth, I could not digest. I had terrible joint pain. And I didn't know what was going on. For someone who tried to be as healthy as possible, works in the wellness industry, I love learning about Eastern, Western medicine, and had the best clients to be able to help me.
Every client you would have would be able to help you.
Exactly. Help me or understand like what my symptoms are. Why is this happening to me? But it took a really long time for me to figure it out. I just knew something was wrong. A month after that, out of nowhere, I developed something called tinnitus, which is a constant ringing in your ear. I had no idea. I never even heard of it until I was diagnosed by an ENT. And the ENT told me it was because of stress. A lot of people get it when they're like 85 years old and losing their hearing. But when you are a young, healthy mom and entrepreneur and stress gets you, your body can manifest that stress in very strange ways. So I saw 12 doctors. Literally, I think it was 12 or 13 doctors to try to figure out how I can mitigate my tinnitus, why this was happening to me. And then
you called Dr. Carrie.
Then I called Dr. Carrie again. And I was like, SOS.
I was like, I think I could fix this ailment for you.
Yes.
It's time. Let's go.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if it was before I called Dr. Carrie or it was after, but it was in the same chunk of time where I also found out I have Crohn's disease, which is an autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
And it took a few months to be diagnosed, but I knew my body was telling me, we're done, Lana. We're done here.
What I think is so interesting is that you were really on an up here. So versus when your body was telling you no the first time and you were on a down, now you're on an up. Like you would be very desirable to any acquirer. You are in a space where your body just says no. But I do think at the end of the day, it was the right choice for you in that moment. And you will have many, many moments of whether it's future companies or future experiences or growth within this company or, any of these things. The sky is just really the limit for you.
Well, thank you.
That's true.
But I agree with you. I still feel really good about the decision I made. I believe it is still the right decision.
Yeah.
And I wholeheartedly stand by that. And so that's when I have to reframe some of the negativity that will crawl into my brain sometimes. However, I am so happy quietly working in the suburbs with, seeing my two boys more, spending more time with them. Like that is also what success looks like. And I had to learn that, I think, the hard way.
Yes.
When I was working my ass off and commuting into the city and not seeing my kids enough. I have learned now that there are so many different ways of looking at success. And for right now, my success is being, hopefully, a kick-ass mom that is around more.
I love it. And also, to the credit of your acquirer of Studio Beauty, I think they recognized what you needed in that moment too and built a role that was for exactly that allowed you to drive new business and do what you love and allowed you to be home and be a mom. That's such an awesome gift and the right type of way to look at an acquisition like this. It's incredible. actually. And they're just sitting here reflecting on that and hearing you talk about that. I love that. I love that for you. What do you think you learned about yourself through this experience?
I need to stay calm.
Mm-hmm.
I am such a better leader. I am a better mom.
Yep.
I am a better wife.
Yep.
I am a better publicist.
Yep.
When I am calm and I am not living in fight or flight.
Yep.
Every single day with the fear of a client firing me, a client screaming
a crisis,
at me.
A crisis.
Over, yeah.
Yes.
Like
It's a random interview that went wrong or something. Yeah,
yes.
Totally.
And it took a while for me to get to a place where I was just happy. I was just happy with what I was doing and where I am.
Love it. Love it so much. You know, somebody told me recently, and this has stuck in my head, so I love this for you too. She said to me, you need to learn how to separate stimulus from response. Like something happens and you respond. And if you can separate the two, that's really when you win.
It's game changing.
And I know. And the thing is, I don't a lot. And I've gotten better through the years. I think I help other people do it. Like I can help you do it.
Yes.
But for me, I don't always do it. And I think now I remember that in my head. So hopefully you will too. I thought that was a good one. Stimulus and response is in my head all the time. Lana, you are such a pleasure. I feel so lucky to have you in my life.
Right back at you.
I mean, it's a love fest. And I'm rooting for you forever and ever and ever. You're going to be 80 years old and I'll be like, I don't know, 98. I'll be an old lady and you will call me on the phone and I'll be like, you did it. Yes. You did it, Lana. I knew you could. That will 100% be our arc.
I know. I love you.
Love you.